Hello, hi, welcome back to Success Automation. In today's topic I'm going to talk about the final keyword. So, what is final keyword? What are the different in the different area you can use the final keyword? So, if you see the definition of final keyword, I'll just go. If you see the final definition, so a final, so there are you can use the final in the three areas. One is you can use final to the variable. So you can use final to the variable. You can use final for the method, and you can use final for the classes. These are the three areas we can use final. So when you declare a final keyword to the variable, I'll just create a class, new class, final demo. You can give final to a variable. So when you give final to a variable, so now I declare one variable a and assign 10 value to this variable, and I given before giving final I just give here just declare one variable and assign that value 10. So now when you print the a value plus a, right click and run the program. So you are getting the value of a. Initially we assign the a value as 10. Now as this is not a final variable, now again I change the value a is equal to 20. Now after I assign the value, reassign the value, when I try to print the value a value, see here. So initially it printed a is equal to 10. Now I change the value a is equal to 20. Now the value of a is 10. So when you give the final to the variable, see if you see here, whenever you give a final keyword to a variable, that value is a final. You cannot change the value. It's like a mathematical mathematic constants, lambda, pi. Those are all final, right? We cannot change the value. In such scenarios, we can use this final keyword to the variable. So when you try, once you give the final to a keyword, whenever you give final to a variable, we cannot change we cannot change the value again. Here if you see here, it is giving the compilation error. Remove the final modifier. That means once you give the value to a variable and you put final to that variable, you cannot change the value. That's the first concept of final variable. So you need to create the constant variable, we have to use final keyword for the variables. So that's the first one. Second one is you can give final. I'll just create another class, child final, sorry, parent final. So you can give final to a method. Okay, void color. So what I'm doing, I'm declare one define one method, and I given the final keyword to that method. Whenever you give final to the method, whenever you give final to the method, you cannot override that method. I'll show the demo here. Now, for example, I'm just putting something here. This is final method. So generally what we'll do, whenever you have parent class and you create a child class here, child final. Okay, so now I'll try to extend this parent class in the child extends. Now this child extend the parent. So now I try to override that. So whenever I try to override the method, even if you remove the final keyword from here, see it is saying that you cannot override this. Remove the final modifier in the parent class. It's telling you have to remove the final keyword, or if you give final to a method, you cannot override that method. Means whenever you give final to a method, that method cannot be overridden. That is what it says here. So prevent method overriding. You see here, if you give final to a method, prevent method overriding. You cannot override that method. So this is all about the final keyword. See, if you don't give the final keyword here, if you don't give the final keyword to a method, that means this color method is in the parent final class. When you extend this parent final class in the child, still you can override here. Why we can override? Because I removed the final keyword from the parent class. If you give final to the method, that method cannot be overridden. Like this, you can use final to the method. Okay, this is the second use of final. Okay, now I'll try to remove this, or I can remove this one. Now you can give final to a class also. The third one is final. You can give final to a variable, method, and class. Okay, so when I give final to a class, I'm just putting final to the class. Whenever you give final to the class, whenever you give final to a class, then that class cannot be extended. See here, I did not override anything. Just I put the parent final here. As the parent final class is final, we cannot extend that. See, when I try to extend this, is giving the error message. Remove the final modifier from the parent final. That means whenever you give the final keyword to a class, you cannot inherit that class. You cannot extend any any other class. So this is the third use of final keyword. So when you give final to a class, you cannot inherit. You cannot do the inheritance. Okay. So characteristics of final keyword: final variable, final method, final class. Initialization: final variable must be initialized either at the time of declaration or constructor. So this point what he is saying is, whenever you give final to a variable, you need to initialize that value at the time of declaration. Performance: the use of final can sometimes improve the performance. The final keyword when used, it will improve the performance of your application. And seventh advantage is final. The final can help improve security by preventing the malicious code for modifying sensitive data or behavior. For example, you have some class or some method. You want that method to be class to be a secure, or you don't know others to be modify that class, or you don't want to override the method of the class. In such scenario, final can be used. So this sixth property is saying final help improve the security by preventing malicious code. So if you know this much, this is more than enough for the for the automation engineers. You don't need to go beyond this. These are the things in automation where we'll use these final in when you want declaring the um, some of the locators, some of the URLs. Sometimes you use for the you can use for the um, username password of the database or application, where the password and the username password will be constant. It won't be changing regularly. In such scenarios you will be using the final keyword. So I'll give some example here. So here I'll remove this. Generally in automation, how they'll use, I'll show you here. uh, object locators. I'm declaring one interface. Okay, they'll use like this: final username xpath something slash slash something you want to put. Some ABC. I'm not putting the exact xpath, just for sample purpose. Yeah, you need to give the data type here. So like this, you declare one, declaring one interface, and under that interface you are trying to defining the xpath of a username, some username, and you are putting the locator. So these locators, as you see in the automation, it won't change. Very rarely some application enhancement something happen, then only to change. So in automation we'll use the final keyword, this kind of this kind of functionality. So like this you can use for password xpath something password. So you can declare or define the locators in the interface, and that will be final. You cannot change, nobody can change the, whenever somebody try to access this variable, he cannot change because we have given the final to that variable. So how we can implement, just I'll give some example here. Some child here, I'll implement this. Okay, now I implemented this object locator in this child class. So something uh, void portal open application, some sample example I'm giving you. You want to get the value, actual username xpath dash plus here just I call this variable. As we have implemented the interface, all the variables and methods in interface are public. Directly you can call this. So I just return one method. Under that I just put SOP. I'm calling this variable. Now I'll create the object of this. Obj new. It fill in the actual XPath, whatever we define in the interface. You see here we have put the some value. In such scenarios we'll use the final for the variable in our automation. So this is all about today's topic. So we learned the final keyword. So final keyword can be used to variable, methods and class. So final, when used to variable, you cannot change the value of the variable. If you give final to a method, you cannot override that method. When you give final to the class, you cannot inherit that class. And the usage of final in the automation, I just going to give an example. Okay, thank you, thanks for watching. Please subscribe my channel and share to your friends. Thank you very much.